Hey everybody, welcome to Confessions of a Book Coach. This is episode 2, and I'm going to just start by saying actually what I did last week, which was I edited to the end of chapter 4. I started my chapter 5 edits. Now that was a little bit more than I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to get to the end of chapter 3. That was my plan. I did brainstorm some promotion ideas, threw them into a document, organizing those. That'll take, this week or next week or whatever that takes. I did announce that I was writing a book and I was going to publish it by the end of July. Did that here last week. And then I've been thinking about the deadline for getting my book to beta readers, because that was the other thing I said I would do. And I think that I'm going to aim for having it done by the end of February, the beginning of March. So that gives me 4 or 5 weeks to do, the final edits to the book before it goes out. I think that's a good time, because it puts a little bit of pressure on me to get it out. And yet it still gives me time to get it done, and it gives me time to do it well. And so one of the things I did my stuff last week. I did my stuff. But one of the things I noticed was I started doing dailies. I was throwing them up on Instagram. I'm going to show what I did daily up on Instagram. I threw them up, which works really well when I'm writing a first draft. Think about NaNoWriMo, right? You're writing however many words, 1,500, 1,700, whatever it is, words a day over 30 days. You get 30,000, 40,000 or whatever words done in your first draft. And that makes a lot of sense, to kind of daily commit to a certain number of words and to put that out for the world to see. And so that's kind of what I was thinking. But of course, editing your book in that next stage isn't quite the same. And so what happened was I got my stuff done by Thursday or whatever it was. I don't remember. And then I didn't have anything to post. And then I felt pressure, like, I should be posting something, which means I should be doing something, even though I finished my goals for the week. And then I realized, well, this isn't necessarily a good idea. That just puts pressure on me unnecessarily. So instead of doing stuff every single day, committing to weekly goals just seems like a better strategy at this point in the publishing process, because I'm not doing that 1,000 words a day or 2,000 words a day to get that first draft done. I have my first draft done. I have my second draft done. I'm working on, it's been to the developmental editor. Fixes have been done. I'm working on the next draft. Call it 3, call it 4, whatever you want. I'm not sure. And so that can get out to beta readers. And so you don't kind of go, well, I'm going to edit 1,000 words a day. And editing just doesn't work that way for me. I like to take it a chapter at a time. So if I'm doing 3 or 4 chapters over a week, then I only need 3 or 4 days. Like, I like to take a whole chunk of time and really sit down with a chapter and work with it. And so dailies aren't going to work. Now I could do 3 or 4 days of 3 or 4 days of editing, and then, 2 or 3 days of kind of promotion work. That would work too. And maybe I'll get into that rhythm, but right now I'm not. So I'm going to commit to weekly tasks. And when I do something, I am going to throw up not a daily. I'm going to change it and call it a progress report. And I'm going to throw that up on Instagram. So if people are following along, or they want to see what I'm doing, or just to keep myself accountable, that's going to be my thing instead. And that just seems like a healthier, more productive and constructive way to help me stay accountable. So, when you're writing a book, think about that. You want, I have to do something every day. Or maybe you're a sprint writer and you only write on Saturdays, but you write a lot on Saturdays. So, just think about what fits in with your life and how it works best for you. And that's kind of one of my lessons today. And then I was interviewing Anais Salas this past Thursday, and she said something that resonated with me. What did she? She said, I wrote my book when I couldn't ignore it anymore. And that may not be a direct, exact quote, but that was more or less what she said. And I thought, wow, that's actually true of me too. A little different, because I write the books and then I hide them. And then nobody ever sees them, which is fine. If you want to write books and hide them, that's great. If that's your hobby, writing books and then keeping them a secret, fabulous. I didn't mean that to be my hobby. And so I guess I'm publishing my book when I can't ignore it anymore. And so I'm on this journey because I'm tired of not moving towards that goal of actually publishing a book and putting it out into the world. And I can't ignore it anymore. And I feel like I've added a full-time job to my life, which is great, because that's kind of the cost of living this, setting this goal and doing this goal in the 6 months that I've given myself. I could have said I'll do it in a year, or I'll do it in 2 years, and I could have sparsed it out and done it slowly. But I didn't feel that was how it was going to fit into my life. I felt like I really needed to kind of up my game and give myself that 6 months. And so, when I'm talking to clients about this, when I'm coaching clients, we're talking about how long it's going to take. There's sometimes this pressure to like, I have it done in 6 months or 3 months or whatever. And I don't think that you need to push yourself like that. I've chosen to kind of put a 6-month deadline on it. I am in the 3rd stage of editing, I guess, or I'm on my 3rd revision. So it's not like I'm just starting to write. If I was just starting to write, I don't think I'd push myself to do it in 6 months. Maybe other people could. Maybe it's their full-time job. It's not mine. I have clients and I run a community for authors and I do a whole bunch of other things. So I can't just put everything aside and just work on books. So if I were starting from scratch, I think it wouldn't be a 6-month sprint. But then I'm working on my 3rd draft. I think a 6-month sprint makes sense. And I think there will be lulls in the sprint. I don't think I'll be working crazy hard every day, every moment. And as I said earlier, if I'm doing 3 to 4 chapters a week, then that means I'm working 4 days on the book and maybe an extra day working on the promotion plan at this point, and just talking about it online and letting people know what I'm doing. I've actually thought about digging up some old photos and putting those out. And so I think that's good for me, but it doesn't mean it has to be good for everyone. And so if you're following my journey and you've been thinking about writing a book, think about what works for you and how it fits into your life. So for me, I can't ignore authorship anymore. And I have committed to having a book out by the end of July. And that's a 6-month goal. And sometimes there's going to be some heavy workloads in that. And I'm aware of that. And sometimes it's going to feel like a second full-time job. And I'm aware of that. And for me, that's okay. I guess that brings me to, what I'm going to do this week. Actually, I wanted to talk about dispelling your fears. Last week, I got on and it was like, terrified to come out here and make this announcement. But afterwards, after I went out and I just said it and I just kind of got it out there, it helped dispel the fears. So if you are in that same place as me with those fears going, I'm holding on to this, maybe put it out there, say it out loud, and that might help you let it go like it did me. All right, what am I going to do next week? So I guess next week the goal is I'm done up to chapter 5. And so my goal was going to be to go to the end of chapter 6. But since I've done chapter 5, I should revise that. So chapter 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to try to get to the end of chapter 8 by the end of next week. I did find a couple of groups for beta readers. There's someone today who said they'd be my beta reader. Yay, got one. Because, when people say things about my book, I'm like, do you want to be a beta reader? So I do have one, but there are a couple of groups that I found for beta readers. And so I think the other thing I'll do this week is read through the rules, make sure I'm following the rules. It's really important when you're working with beta readers that you think about, or you make sure that you are following any group rules and you're respecting their time and you understand what the exchange is going to be all about. And so that's something I'm going to put time into this week. And I have the promotion plan. So maybe one day, maybe just for 1 hour, I'll just keep working on it, organizing it and thinking about it. So I guess that's what I'm doing this week. Those are my 3 things. Edit up to chapter 8, read through the beta reader rules and figure out how much advance time I need to give potential beta readers before they know the book's coming out. So if they're going to read it kind of at the beginning of March, when do they need to know? Do they need to know now? Or you're not going to just throw it on them at the beginning of March going, read it now. So kind of getting that sorted out right now, which also then will give me a deadline that I need to stick to. So that will be good for me as well. I work well with deadlines. And then a bit more of the promotion plan. And I think that is going to be me for this week. If you are on a writing and publishing or book promoting journey, I would love it if you drop it in the comments what you are doing this week. I'd love to see where you're at. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week for another episode of Confessions of a Book